I'm Travis Wayne Goodsell. I noticed YouTube has nobody who's made the connection of Revelation 19 with the solar eclipse on 8 April 2024. And so, as I am the foremost anthropologist of the ancient Middle East, I thought I should help you out in making this connection. I have a new camera which tends to freeze on me and provides a lot of extra noise in the background, so bear with me. And there's a lot of information that's required to fully explain this sign in the heavens from Revelation. And so understand that there's just too much to put into one video. I am purposely leaving the title vague and general, well, specific in general, because normally I do videos to try to educate Mormons about Mormonism to help them leave the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. As all of Scripture, including the Mormon Scripture by Joseph Smith, are all in the learning of the Jews. This means it is not Christian. It is not about Jesus. The Ten Commandments actually condemn Christianity and Jesus, as well as Islam and Allah. So as it is expected that I will likely get a bunch of Christians to be attracted to this video, I'm sorry guys, I've been focusing on the Mormons being false, but that doesn't mean you're true. The Jews gave you the Bible, and you destroyed it with your interpretation. And so, using the King James Version of the Bible, I will go over Revelation 19 and explain how it is the way it is. But first we'll go over 2017, September 23rd, from Revelation chapter 12. I'm hoping the majority of you are aware of that, regardless of the errors of interpretation by those who did videos on it. And so, yes, it's clearly talking about signs in the heavens. And so it's using the sun, the moon, the constellations on the zodiac, and the 5 visible planets. And so it's important to make sure you get the right ones, because every single sign in the heaven is a precise day and time. If you go to a different day, you'll have a different sign. It does not repeat because of all the rates of speed as we see it from Earth. We will never repeat a sign in the heaven. So what John is giving us in his book of Revelation are precise day and hours. And so please do not express your ignorance by regurgitating the misinformation from Scripture. Like I said, there's too much information that I cannot give in this video. I'm well aware of Matthew 24 and 25, and it is an added text by a dumbass. And so, knowing the rate of speed and how we see things from Earth is how we are able to know, and China made t-shirts of 23rd September 2017. But I'm the only one who realized that verse 5 was in error. It needs to be moved up to this original sign, because Jupiter being at the womb is one thing, but Jupiter being born is completely different. And the sign that everybody knew from verses 1 and 2 has Jupiter leaving the womb, being born at Spica, the Bethlehem star. And this means that verse 5 needs to be included. And what's also in this verse is the 5th visible planet. 3 are added into the constellation Leo on the head of Virgo to make the number of stars 12. Yes, there are multi-gabillions of stars in any point in the heavens. But the ancients and those during the author of John's Revelation designated 9 for Leo, which means 3 visible planets in Leo on the head of Virgo. So with Jupiter as the man-child, Saturn is therefore God. And God is the father of Jupiter, thus Saturn, in the Roman theology. And that's what the author is using here. He's using the Roman theology. And so the throne is what they designated as the constellation of Ophiuchus. And so sure enough, on that same date, if you expanded out your stellarium program, or if the author of the videos that got it wrong would do that, they would see verse 5, Saturn in Ophiuchus. And so yes, there are other dates given here. Verse 3 was December 17th, 2017, and verse 4 was January 2nd, 2018. And as it had to do with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I was telling all this to Mormons and getting all kinds of hate comments and death threats and denialism and etc., etc., etc. So don't think you're gonna be new and surprise me with what I haven't already heard from Mormons. I hold all comments for review, just in case you think you're gonna be evil on my channel. I will not allow it. So verse 19, or chapter 19 of Revelation, it's what all of Christianity, Islam, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints believe is the day of the second coming. And in context with Revelation 12, it may be confusing, because that could also explain why nobody is acknowledging Revelation 19 with April 2024. The Jews had what's called Passover. Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19, the Jewish law is about the Jewish Christ. And he is a man like Moses, which means the Moses Exodus story is not literal history, but a prophetic prediction of the future of the Jewish Christ with the dates of when he is to come. And so Passover by the Jews is designated with 8 days, even though 8 years is from 2017 to this year, 2024. Revelation 12, Revelation 19. In 2017, you'll recognize that there was a first solar eclipse over the United States of America. These 3 days of darkness, or 3 hours of darkness, as the Gospels author used both 3 days of darkness, 3 hours of darkness in his prophetic stories about a character named Jesus, even though he quotes Isaiah saying that his name is supposed to be Emmanuel, the Egyptian sun god at noonday. And so this is what you need to look for, is that Exodus pattern. And so the 8 years is the Passover, which is the latter days. So Passion Week, wrongly called by Christians, is Passover. This year, because it's a leap year in both our calendar and in the Jewish calendar, the Jews have Passover in the later end of April, whereas in the Catholic calendar, Christian calendar, Easter is instead celebrated on March 31st. This is why the difference. The Christians are wrong, the Jews are right. 8 April 2024 is the last day on the Jewish calendar. The last day of the latter days on the last day of the Jewish calendar, and thus in the evening at 6 p.m. in the Jewish calendar is symbolically prophesied as the start of the millennial time period. And so paying attention to the events on earth is kind of important if these Bible prophets are actual prophets. And so it's no wonder that there's war against Israel and war against Ukraine, because it's in the Bible, and Christians have misinterpreted it and are purposely causing these wars to bring about their Jesus, who will never come because he is not real. It is the Jews and the Jewish Christ and the Jewish location on earth that they are prophesying about. These 3 solar eclipses of prophecy indicate that it's the United States of America where this all is to take place. And yes, we're in the final year, in the final month, and 16 days at the time of making this video. Like I said, there's a lot of information I cannot put in this video. So in verse 7, we see the marriage supper of the Lamb. This is supposed to be in Zion, at the temple. And that's what I've been telling Mormons, because Joseph Smith had section 58 of his Doctrine and Covenants, which is a direct parallel with added information for Revelation 19. And so in verse 11, which you're all familiar with, even if you only saw the movie Rapture Palooza, where Anna Kendrick's boyfriend murders Jesus, coming from outer space on a white horse. That's verse 11. And the heavens opened, which means it's a sign in the heavens. It is not to be a literal event to take place. And so there's the white horse. That is the constellation of Pegasus. And on the back of Pegasus is the constellation of the zodiac called Pisces, the 2 fish. Familiar with the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish? Yep, that's what it's actually talking about. Pisces and Virgo, with the Bethlehem star of the house of bread. And so when we get down to verse 17, the sun, verse 12, that's Emmanuel, the Egyptian sun god at noonday, who had that secret hidden name. And so the sun is eclipsed in verse 17, as it is on the back of the white horse. I saw an angel standing in the sun. It's not a literal angel. This is the error of Constantine when creating Christianity, turning the Jewish scriptures from prophecy into literal history. And so this is how we know it's 8 April 2024. And as the Christ, which John tells us is Jupiter, is now being called the Lamb, we would need to look for Jupiter on this day. And sure enough, there it is in the Ram constellation of Aries. That's why John uses the word lamb to describe the Jupiter symbol for the Jewish Christ of the future. Real simple. And there's obviously a lot more to talk about, as I could go over Mars and Mercury and Venus and the history and scripture interpretation and other supporting scriptures that do this same type of thing, just in a different manner that John is doing it here in the book of Revelation. Because the Gospels are giving us the exact dates that John is giving us with a star date, going over the celestial bodies. The rest of Scripture goes over story form of these actual events. And that is the manner of prophesying among the Jews, to tell stories of the signs in the heavens, thus not literal history. So that's pretty much it. And nobody's making t-shirts because nobody knows about the connection. So make the t-shirts. I want to buy one.